The 12th ranked Miami Hurricanes won 79-68 over Georgia in the first game of the Baha Mar Hoops Bahamas Championship in Nassau. A great win by Miami. They're going to play in the championship game on Sunday against Kansas State, who beat Providence in overtime in the other game. I've already seen K-State play this year. I've got a lot of thoughts on what I think of the Wildcats that I'll get to in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about this game for the Hurricanes. So there were a lot of really good individual performance led by Matthew Cleveland's 18 points, 8 of 13 shooting. I'll get more into what I think about Matthew. Also talked to Coach Jim Larinaga after the game, and Mike White, the Georgia head coach, asked him about Matthew as well. I'll get more into that a little bit, as well as the other individual players on the team. My thoughts on Bensley Joseph, another really good performance out of him. He's off to a great start. Nigel Pack, Norchad Omir in double figures, as well as Wooga Poplar. So all 5 starters scored in double figures, got some contributions off the bench. I will get more into that. But first, I want to talk about this thing that Miami's been able to do through these first 4 games, and that's come away with these big runs. So they had a 12-0 run in this game. They were trailing against Georgia. Georgia was doing a good job early on that first half, keeping it close, knocking Miami back a little bit, mixing things up with their defense. They start out in man, and then they kind of go to this matchup zone, and Larinaga did talk about the zone, that they hadn't seen Georgia play zone all year. Those first 3 games, I only watched Georgia play once, and I didn't see him play zone either. So that makes sense that Jim hadn't seen that quite yet either. But it looked like a little bit of a matchup zone, and I think Miami kind of got rushed on their three-point shooting a little bit there. Put up a lot of shots, didn't make a lot there in the first half. They kind of went to a man-to-man offense. Coach talked about that when I asked him about the second half efficiency, 60% shooting from the field. Okay, so I want to go back to the run here. So Evan Miyakawa, he's got this analytics website, evanmiya.com. You can check it out. And one of the things that I really like about his site and the analytics that he provides, he kind of created this thing last year called kill shots. So what he considers a kill shot in a game is a 10-0 run or more by a team. So he tallies it up. Essentially, you can see which teams have the best either spurt ability, whatever you might call it, but just the quick strike ability to reel off a big run. And Miami was pretty good at it last year. They were able to do that. And then also you can see who's given up big runs. That's always interesting too. And he's got different graphs where he'll show, kind of where teams fall in line in terms of either giving up or allowing, whatever that might be. So this year, we've already seen it. So this is the 4th game. So the 3 games prior to the game against Georgia, Miami was one of 9 teams in the country averaging at least 2 kill shots per game, which is really impressive. Last year, Miami had a good mark at 0.61, just in relation. Again, it's early. You're going to play better teams, better competition as the season goes on. But just to show you just kind of where Miami is, and they had 1 in the game against Georgia, and it felt like it really made a big difference in the game. That 12-0 run happened in under 90 seconds. It was 3 3-pointers. Wooga Poplar, Nigel Pack, Bensley also hit one. And then Wooga had a 3-point play. So it happened in a hurry. And that's the thing with Miami's ability on offense, that they're able to get these big runs and really sink teams. Matthew Cleveland led this team in scoring with 18 points, 8 of 13 from the floor. Another really efficient shooting night from Matthew, and I asked Coach about it after the game because Coach told us that he had a conversation with Matthew in the offseason about being more efficient. And he kind of shared a story that, when Matthew joined the team, Coach actually got a text message from his dad about, hey, can you help him become a more efficient player? So certainly everybody knew that Matthew needed to be more efficient, and it's worked. He's come out of the gate really strong. He's had these impressive offensive performances where he's scoring the ball, but doing so at a really high rate. Kind of put it in perspective right now, he's leading the team in offensive individual rating at 139.8, according to Ken Palm. And that's the highest on the team. And to put that in perspective, his first 2 years at Florida State, he didn't have a season over 100. So he's doing great. He's off to a great start. And, he's just doing a really good job, whether it's making shots or from 2 or from 3. His percentages are all really high. Field goal percent, 3-point, and free throw even are all career highs at this point in the season. And Bensley was great tonight. 13 points, 5 of 8 shooting, had 3 steals on defense, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers. He's really making a big impact on both ends of the court. He's averaging 14 points a game through these first four games. And certainly you're not expecting everybody to keep up these scoring averages, because when you get in a conference play, you're going to face tougher teams. Typically, you don't score as many points as you do against these non-conference teams. However, coming into the year, if I were to guess, I would have probably guessed that Bensley would be closer to that 7-8 point range, based on him being the fifth scorer on the team. And those other four guys, I think they were all going to be over 12 plus type of guys. And I just thought Bensley was going to be, and maybe he will come back a little bit with his scoring production. But what I'm seeing so far right now is he's certainly being aggressive, getting his shots. He's knocking down shots. We've seen him make threes over his career, but he's just doing a really good job of either taking the right shots. There was a moment in this game where he committed a foul on the defensive end and he kind of apologized to his teammates. And for me, it seemed like, just kind of guessing, I assume it was about the shot on the previous possession where he kind of took like a step back 10-footer, missed it badly, kind of an individual move. And it felt like he was maybe apologizing to his teammates about that play. Okay, so looking ahead to K-State as a team, I had a chance to watch them, in particular against South Dakota State. They've got a really interesting team, and this is the matchup I was most looking forward to seeing Miami play if it was going to work out, because I think it's going to be a great challenge for Miami. I think K-State's got a good team. They're 3-1 coming into it. So they beat Providence 73-70 in overtime. And they had some rough shooting performances, kind of throughout the game, shot under 40%, but really showed a lot of fight and grit. Really good defensive performance, I thought, against Providence in this win for them. And so they're going to kind of look to bounce back. It's also a team that had a really successful run last year into the Elite Eight. So, but they too are kind of replacing some key guys from that team while still building on some key pieces as well. Got a really key transfer in at point guard in Tyler Perry, a really good point guard that can shoot the ball. Did a really good job at North Texas before arriving at K-State. Had 24 points against Providence, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. I know that's going to be on the scouting report. Don't foul him. Don't put him on the free throw line, because he can certainly add up points in a hurry there. I think he does a good job controlling the ball with his ball handling, but also I think he's a guy that does a good job looking for a shot. He's a good 3-point shooter. So they're definitely going to have to keep their eye on him. And I think the way the matchups kind of go, I think I could see Nigel Pack on him, because Cam Carter is their shooting guard. He had a rough night against Providence, but I saw him play really well. I think he's a very good scorer. He went for over 20 against South Dakota State in the game I watched and really looked at, as opposed to the game against Providence, where he only had 5 points, 2 of 11 fouls out late there. But I still think he's a big factor. I think you could see Bensley Joseph on him, because I think he's just the way that the way Miami likes to play it. I could see that being the matchup. And I think that's going to be a pivotal matchup in this game, with Miami looking to win its first in-season tournament since winning the 2015 Puerto Rican tip-off. And I think you'll see Arthur Kaluma battling with Wooga Poplar there at that kind of that 3 spot. Arthur comes back from an injury. He scores 18 points. He's certainly a nice player for the Wildcats, kind of an all-around guy that can do different things. Had a lot of turnovers against Providence. He had 7 in the game, but it was his first game back. Maybe it took him a little bit to get into a groove. So we'll see how he plays on Sunday, but kind of that Wooga Kaluma matchup will be interesting. And I think what you're going to see there at that 4, Matthew Cleveland, coming off some really good performances. This is a matchup he has to win against David Gasson, who was quiet, a guy that I like, kind of like a glue guy for the Wildcats. He was quiet in the game against Providence and then comes on in overtime and gets 3 buckets and really does a good job in help lifting K-State to the win. And again, K-State stayed in control of overtime. Providence was kind of battling, couldn't knock down shots. Doral Academy product, Devin Carter, really struggled shooting the ball, goes 2 of 15 there for Providence, and that really made a big difference for K-State winning this game with the defensive pressure that they applied on Devin and forced him into missing so many shots. So that's at the 4. And then Norchad Omier, kind of a Will McNair battle down low. I'm looking for Norchad in this one in general, just because he's kind of been battling foul trouble, hasn't had these huge offensive performances lately. started out the season so strong. So we'll see how North Chad does. I know he wants to get back to it. We saw that last game. I saw it last game against FIU, battle in foul trouble, didn't score, had a low scoring total, didn't have a big game, and he's shooting shots after the game. So I can only imagine he wants to get out there on Sunday as quick as possible and play this game and help this team, win a tournament. I think that'd be big. So 4-0 for Miami. K-State provides a good challenge. I think they're, according to the analytics, kind of a solid offensive numbers right now, offensive rating, and really solid defensively. So I think it's a good team. It'll be Miami's best team that they're going to face so far this season. Obviously, after these two games in the Bahamas, they go to Kentucky. So it's not for 8. They have 8 days off before that one after Sunday's game. So this will be a good chance for Miami to go in 5-0 against Kentucky in Lexington with certainly a lot of positive momentum. But they've got to take care of business against K-State, certainly a formidable opponent, one that Miami's got to play well on both sides of the ball to win the game. So definitely appreciate everybody watching. Let me know what you thought of this game. What do you think about the game coming up against K-State? Hopefully you have a good rest of the night, and take care.